Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So.
Definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross.
Oscar nominee, Kavashane Wallace.
When did that become marketable? Knock it off. They like her because she want to sleep with a white man. That's why the only thing she said was, I want to give it to Brad Pitt.
Censored very shocking allegations of child against Tiffany Hadish and Aries Spears. A new lawsuit against the comedians have accused the comedians of abusing two child actors.
Katt Williams has made some bombshell allegations against several comedians for allegedly selling their souls for fame. And these claims are not even about some backyard comedians. They are about A-list acts like Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, and Tiffany Hadish. Now, we know when it comes to Hollywood, someone will accuse someone of selling their soul for fame every 3 business days. So, is there any merit to what Katt Williams is believed to have said about these comedians? Did Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, and Tiffany Hadish really sell their souls for fame? Let's dive right into it.
For the last few years, like, Kevin been pretending like he been world touring. That nigga ain't been world touring. That nigga been everywhere but is all through Saskatchewan.
Katt Williams has a reputation for being brutally honest about the shenanigans in the industry and is always ready to call out his colleagues when they're acting the fool. This honest, no-holds-barred approach to life has not earned him many friends, but at least Katt Williams can boldly say he has not broken his personal boundaries or crossed unethical lines just to make it as a comedian, unlike people like Kevin Hart and Steve Harvey. According to Katt, black men in the entertainment industry have always been made to do ridiculous things so that they can get the type of success their white counterparts get without struggling. One such ridiculous thing is allegedly pressuring them into wearing dresses on live television before they can become famous. Now, when Katt talks about Hollywood and how there is a rotten culture in there that thrives off emasculating black men, one of the comedians he has referred to is Kevin Hart, who Katt believes is always willing to do anything for money. Interestingly, Dave Chappelle also talked about something similar when he appeared on The Oprah Show in 2006. Dave revealed that he once turned down a $50 million deal from Comedy Central because he knew he could not accept that money without giving up a certain part of himself.
Everybody wants to know, why'd you walk away from $50 million?
Well, I wasn't walking away from the money.
Yeah.
I was walking away from the circumstances that were coming with the newfound plateau.
Yeah.
It takes a while when you punch through to adjust to the atmosphere. It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay.
When
you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah.
He also talked about how these big media companies were offering him money to write sketches that made people laugh at him, not with him. Like if he didn't do something to humiliate himself, he wouldn't be allowed to get rich and famous. But the more interesting bit is when Dave recalled how he was once asked to wear a dress for a movie he was starring in alongside Martin Lawrence. He said getting told to wear a dress made him start connecting the dots and realizing that so many other black men have been asked to do the same.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in a trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here.
He even told the producers that he felt wearing a dress was not relevant to the scene, but they just kept pressuring him while reminding him that all the greats have done it as if it was some rite of passage. It wasn't until they realized he would not budge that they left him alone.
What? A prostitute? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave. Listen, we got it all set up. We're supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. No, the pressure comes in. Huh. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then like the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain?
The thing is, at least according to Dave, the issue is not about the dress itself. It's about the industry trying to push artists to a corner and see if they're willing to do anything and everything to achieve wealth. When Kevin Hart was asked to comment on Dave's claims that black men were being forced to humiliate themselves for money, in 2012, he said it's essential for artists to protect their brand and not cross their boundaries. He also said he had never had to cross any lines, and his personal beliefs had never been challenged up to that point.
Dave Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, you know, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts, and is that something that, you know, you wouldn't do, you know, for
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you know, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. You know, for me, I know what they are. They've yet to been challenged, so, you know, I don't have to speak on them. I was asked to dribble a basketball on a talk show this morning. I said no to that. Not that was a dress, but I was like, no, I'm gonna look stupid. You know, at the end of the day, you gotta know that you're a brand. Yeah. I'm a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times. When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, you know, protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
Adding that he would never do something he didn't want to do just for money. But lo and behold, just a year later, Kevin appeared on an SNL skit wearing a dress. This resulted in serious backlash from fans, who accused him of being a sellout and being fake. One of his fans said, LMAO just realized that Kevin Hart has worn dress and kissed men in his movies and TV show appearances to be accepted into the Hollyweird cult. And they still told that dude, now say you're sorry, Kevin. Another said, I hate that Kevin Hart had to wear that dress on SNL. I guess he and now. And it seems like Kevin was not the only celebrity made to go through that. One person said, y'all notice that every male celebrity that goes on SNL has to wear a dress? It happened to The Rock, Kevin Hart, others, and now Post Malone.
For others, I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now we had Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next.
Speaking on this issue, Katt Williams said he believed Kevin wasn't special for being asked to wear a dress. It was simply his turn to go through a rite of passage that many male celebrities before him had gone through. So it's a much bigger conspiracy than we know about. And the word conspiracy here might make some people go, well, yeah, it's all a conspiracy. But if you ask Katt, he will tell you that conspiracies maybe shouldn't be so easily dismissed because there is always a tiny element of truth in them.
There aren't that many conspiracy theories anymore because we found out that all conspiracy theories, there's a nugget of truth in there. It came from somewhere. That's where it became a theory. And then it progressed to the point where it became a conspiracy theory. because there was something there.
But according to Katt, wearing a dress is not the only way you can sell your soul to Hollyweird as a comedian. Sometimes you can also get to that next level of fame if you act as the instigator and push others to do things they're not comfortable with. Take Steve Harvey, for example. Katt dissed Steve Harvey on the same issue not too long ago. He allegedly claimed that Steve Harvey was one of the people perpetuating the Hollywood goal of emasculating black men for making Cedric the Entertainer wear a dress. Steve supposedly knew about Cedric's potential as a comedian, but couldn't handle the possibility of Cedric becoming more famous than him, so he deliberately tried to throw dirt at Cedric to bring him down. And he did this by making Cedric do a feminine skit. Katt mentioned in his interview with Blacktree that going against one's personal values to make money is always a choice, one he would never make. To him, it will never make sense to do certain undignified things for money or success. This mentality has prevented Katt Williams from becoming a mainstream celebrity like Steve Harvey and Kevin Hart. You have to be a Katt Williams stan to know that although he may not be the most famous comedian, he is working hard and making major moves, signing deals with giant media companies such as HBO and Netflix. In an interview with V103 Radio in Atlanta, Katt said, "I have the top 2 comedy specials on Showtime, HBO, and Comedy Central."
How many is that total?
9.
So you've done 9
Yeah.
filmed comedy stand-up specials?
Without ever getting financed or having a deal with anybody.
You did them by yourself?
Yes, I own them 100%. I have the top 2 comedy specials on Showtime, HBO, Comedy Central, and we just moved to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why they don't.
I didn't know that.
Nobody does. They don't promote it or sell the items after they come out because I own them, lock, stock, and barrel, and I don't have any.
But the media doesn't like to portray Katt as the comedy mogul he is because, as he said in this interview, people like him get a lot of hate for speaking the truth. He has also talked about fans thinking the industry blackballed him because he is not mainstream. According to Katt, his not being mainstream is a choice, not a result of him being blackballed. He said, "My fans think like, oh, he's been blackballed. But the truth is, in 20 years, I've never been in a commercial audition in my life. Like I never let my tour get sponsored when I was broke or now. You can't buy me not because I'm not for sale. You can't buy me because I'm not in the store. That's different." As for Steve Harvey, Katt has always believed his success is shady at best and is a direct result of some unethical practices. That's why in 2009, he publicly challenged Steve to defend his title as the King of Comedy. At the New Year's Eve performance, they co-headlined.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to you, because you didn't have to accept this. You could have just said, no, I'm not going to do it. You have been the king of comedy as long as we've had one. Matter of fact, the whole phrase, king of comedy, can be attributed to you. And I'm honored that you would allow me to share the same stage as you. And I don't know why people made this a championship bout. And I don't know why you was okay with that. And I want to apologize for what's going to happen.
Who is this nigga?
But the second that you get on stage, I need you to understand that that's your final time as the king of comedy.
With Katt's challenge and threat to displace Steve hanging in the air, Steve went on Jamie Foxx's satellite radio show to say he planned to take the high road and ignore Katt's threats. He also threw shade at Katt, saying, "My grandfather used to tell me that dogs don't bark at parked cars, only cars that are moving. Dogs bark at the moon all the time, but if the moon barks back at the dog becomes famous." But Katt was not about to back down. He came guns blazing, throwing shots at Steve's performance, reputation, clothes, hair, and everything in between in the second half of the show. He also called out Steve during the performance for being a coward Howard, saying he copied his style from other people and that it was disrespectful to the people who came before him to call himself a king of comedy. But it's not just Katt who believes Stevie did some shady stuff to get to the top. Stevie has also been accused of being disrespectful to people around him, including his own staff. According to Variety, a memo Steve has sent to his staff surfaced on Robert Fetter's Chicago Media Blow, where Steve implied that anyone who disturbed him would be removed from the team. The memo read, "There will be no meetings in my dressing room, no stopping by or popping in, no one. Do not come to my dressing room unless invited. Do not open my dressing room door. If you open my door, expect to be removed. My security team will stop everyone from standing at my door who have the intent to see or speak to me. Do not approach me while I'm in the makeup chair unless I ask to speak with you directly. Either knock or use the doorbell. I am seeking more free time for me throughout the day. Do not wait in any hallway to speak to me. I hate being ambushed. Please make an appointment. I promise you I will not entertain you in the hallway and do not attempt to walk with me. Everyone, do not take offense to the new way of doing business. It is for the good of my personal life and enjoyment." And then there's Steve's problematic view of women and relationships, has also been accused of disrespecting women with his interesting takes like, why do men cheat? It's really because there are so many women out there that are willing to cheat with them. Never mind that some of those women he's insulting like that are his fans, the reason why he is so successful. And sure, it takes two to tango, but this statement is offensive to men as well, because Steve paints all men as irrational creatures who act like animals and can't control themselves around women. But it didn't end there. When Steve was asked to advise women on how they can turn away suitors, all he had to say was, "You cannot stop a guy. Once a guy is interested in you, we lock in. We don't care what you do." Again, this is extremely problematic because the underlying message is that men shouldn't accept no as an answer no matter what. Steve has also had a lot to say about atheism, calling atheists immoral and corrupt. According to him,
"Does he have a relationship with God? You sitting up here talking to a dude and he tells you he's an atheist, you need to pack it up and go home. You know, you're talking to a person who don't believe in God, what's his moral barometer? Where is it at? It's nowhere."
Speaking of God.
Knowing all this about Steve Harvey kind of shatters the reputation he has built on being a quirky, funny, cool, all-American dad. His beliefs on certain issues make it seem like he's just the regular Bible-thumping man who believes anything he personally disagrees with is automatically wrong and sinful. So, is he fooling his audience? And then there's the whole issue of Steve acting like he's a role model to other black entertainers. But behind the scenes, he's been accused of secretly sabotaging everyone he perceived as a threat. The late Bernie Mac accused Steve in one of his last interviews of jealousy and claimed that he tried to steal his role in Ocean's 11. Bernie also accused Steve of being a major narcissist who can't stand to see others thrive and said, "Go back and look at the Kings of Comedy tapes." Whenever he introduced his buddy Cedric the Entertainer, it was all about himself. So, yeah, I knew about it. Did it piss me off? Nah, you can't piss me off. You ain't that good. And then there's also Monique, who publicly called out Steve for being a fake friend when he took Oprah and Tyler Perry's side in their feud with Monique. After Monique publicly accused Oprah and Tyler of blackballing her, Steve apparently called her to say he agreed with her. But then he later went on air and slammed her for burning too many bridges. Of course, Monique felt this was extremely two-faced and shady, and Steve received some serious backlash from fans for sucking up to the Hollywood elites and betraying Monique.
What I would have appreciated from my brother was had you picked up the phone before you went on the air and said, "Monique, you've burned too many bridges and there's nothing I can do." See, I would have appreciated had my brother called me up and said, "Baby, let's talk," because you doing that was a part of me being difficult.
But not before that, though.
Yes, baby.
But according to Katt Williams, Steve Harvey is not the only comedian who has built his career off unethical practices. Tiffany Hadish is also on that table. Katt did not spare Tiffany Hadish from his scathing remarks, as he called her out for being fake, talentless, and pandering to the white audience for crumbs of attention. According to Katt, Tiffany was not funny and had not proved herself worthy of the title comedian by successfully completing a tour.
Body gonna sleep with him. You only got Tiffany Hadish. She been doing comedy since she was 16. You can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Hadish joke. Why? Because she ain't done a tour yet. She ain't done a special. She has not proven the ability to tell jokes back to back for an hour to nobody. And they already ready to down Monique and up somebody who has showed them Girls Trip. Did you think she wrote Girls Trip, goofball?
Right.
Or do you think that was already a script and they handed it to her? It's up to you, whatever you want to believe.
Katt went as far as saying Tiffany doesn't write any of her scripts, including the script for her breakout role in Girls Trip. He also added that Tiffany stepped on many more talented comedians to get to the top because she was willing to play the industry game, which includes sleeping with white men.
They like her because she want to sleep with a white man. That's why the only thing she said was, I want to give it to Brad Pitt. The only thing before that in the movie with me is I slept with this white man and I got a white baby. She had a white husband for the 14 years she been doing comedy, and then all of a sudden divorced him, then said he abused her, then wrote a book, then said he didn't. And then now we're at Brad Pitt. So, hey.
Katt's comments on Tiffany Hadish seemed to downplay her success and came across as misogynistic. And many people did not like how people were piling on her. One ex-user said, Tiffany Hadish is just like Cardi B. She care about others' opinions too much. So what? You ain't a strong comedian? You're a Hollywood star now. Katt Williams would kill to be where Tiffany Hadish is at right now. The F is she trying to do stand-up for? Another person said, people give Tiffany a hard time for no reason. I see people call her a coon and how she plays up back stereotypes for clout. Even today, I already see people writing her off, saying how Katt was right all along. It feels like people just want her to fail and fall off. Still, many people believe Katt was spitting facts when he talked about Tiffany Hadish, with one person saying, Katt Williams told y'all a long time ago, Tiffany Hadish just acts like a fool and people pretend it's talent. Someone else said, remember when Katt Williams said Tiffany Hadish isn't funny, and then people got mad but then realized that Tiffany Hadish isn't funny? So, yeah, all evidence suggests that Katt might be on to something. And then, when you take into account how Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, and Tiffany Hadish responded to his comments about them, it really seems like he touched a nerve. Kevin got so pissed off that he accused Katt of always playing the victim and trying to paint everyone but himself. When he appeared on The Breakfast Club, Kevin slammed Katt for always pointing the finger at everyone from Hollywood to his colleagues rather than taking responsibility for his substance issues and fixing them.
Our frustration with Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot. You didn't show up to work. You f***ed off promo shoots. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what, I gotta fix me. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stand up for comedy.
Kevin claimed that the real reason why Katt wasn't mainstream was that he chose substances over his career and refused to put in the work, which is why the big studios didn't want to have anything to do with him. And some people seem to agree with Kevin because someone on X said, if Katt Williams didn't F with them drugs, he would have definitely been up there with Kevin Hart. Another person said, are we actually denying Katt Williams had a drug problem? Either way, this ain't none of my poor dude business. However, there are way more people who are praising Katt for calling out people like Steve, Kevin, and Tiffany. And they're convinced that the main reason Katt didn't achieve mainstream success is because he refused to sell his soul to the Hollywood elites. Someone said, the fact that Kevin is literally sitting there and defending Hollywood and portraying Katt as being a drug addict just tells you everything you need to know. Kevin is so deep with Hollywood, he said he has a brand to protect even if it means wearing a dress. Also, notice how in 95% of movies Kevin Hart is in, Hollywood portrays Kevin as a weak, scared little black man. And another person wrote, big respect to Katt, Chappelle, and others in the Hollyweird industry that have principles, morals, and refuse to compromise such for money and fame. But what do you think about Katt's allegations that some comedians have sold their souls for fame? Is there any truth to it? Or is Katt just reaching because he's jealous? Share your thoughts in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.